Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Drewberry, and we're doing another custom card review. I have to apologize right off the hop. We normally do these on Sundays, but I was a little bit behind on my weekend with my Christmas shopping and events and family and all that good stuff. So we're doing it on Monday. I hope that's okay, but I have a bonus special for you guys. Despite next Sunday being on Christmas, I'm going to have the next challenge completed for that day as my Christmas gift to you guys. And what better keyword for Christmas for a custom card challenge than the keyword give? And if you're looking for examples of that, it is in the game. There's cards like Ironheart, who gives +2 power to 3 other cards. Iceman gives +1 energy to a cost card in your opponent's hand. So they exist. Even Silver Surfer, who just came out, gives +3 power to all of your 3-cost cards. So giving something good or giving something bad? Are you on the good list, naughty list? Let's see it. Bonus points, okay, if you make it Christmas themed. I'm looking for some Christmassy art. I'm even going to say that you can slightly deviate from Marvel characters, okay? It doesn't have to be totally a Marvel character. If you go a little offbeat, I'll incorporate it, and I might add it if the effect and everything is really on point, okay? So that is going to be this upcoming challenge. I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. If you want to participate, you just have to join the Berryverse Discord. Totally free, fun to do, and then you can create a card with that URL. In the Berryverse Discord, we also have templates made, and a lot of the members have been helping out with like frame breaks and artwork and stuff like that. So it's a great community. We're all super helpful and bounce ideas off of each other. And then you can post one submission in the weekly challenge channel. Please try to limit to just one. If you want to post a different one, just go back and delete your old post. That would be really appreciated. And don't feel nervous about posting a crazy idea or anything like that. There are no wrong ideas. There are no bad ideas. I want to see all of your creative submissions. So jump in, make a card, and share it with the Berryverse. All right, it's time to get into this week's challenge, which was destroy, which is growing to be my favorite keyword in Marvel Snap. So let's see what you guys came up with. All right, check it. So starting with a couple of honorable mentions, a few close to the top 5s, okay? These aren't in any particular order, but we got a few Venomized characters in the Marvel Universe, some symbiotes, okay? And that is going to be a bit of a trend throughout this entire video because that's what those characters do in Marvel Snap. They destroy things. So very on point thematically to have a bunch of those characters here. And we have Lapis, Anti-Venom. This one was really cool. This was probably one of the closest ones I almost had to the top 5. So Anti-Venom is ongoing. Bring back any card you destroy at this location. Destroy it again. The reason I find this so interesting is because there's a data mine card. I believe it's called Phoenix, and it correlates with Jean Grey. And anyways, it has in its text resurrect. And I have a funky feeling that that might end up being a keyword later on in Marvel Snap. Not a main keyword, not something you build decks around, but just like a small keyword. Like give is kind of a small keyword in Marvel Snap, right? So I think resurrect is going to be in Marvel Snap eventually. And basically what the text says here, any card at this location that's destroyed gets resurrected, destroyed again. And I think that's a great idea. I think that's a really cool idea. That works really well with like Bucky Barnes. You got to find ways to maybe destroy it. I guess Bucky wouldn't work too well because you want to Carnage and then you end up eating your Anti-Venom, and that's not so great. So maybe you have to go with the Nova Killmonger and then somehow keep destroying your 1-drops. Or maybe you just go for the one-time effect. I don't know, but it's really interesting. It's a 3-1 stat line, which I think is pretty balanced. Anti-Venom is a really cool character, right? I know Lapis mentioned like trying to play on the healing ability, so resurrecting cards as much as you can with a symbiote. So really cool idea here, Lapis. I like it a lot. Then we got Norman's Toxin. You also inkified the variant. I love it when you guys do variants or splits or anything like that. It's very cool when you mess around with the artwork. So his Toxin is a 4-cost, 0 power. On reveal, destroy Venom and Carnage wherever they are. Add their power to this card. So at minimum, you're getting 3 most likely, unless you got like Scorpion in the hand or something. So you're a 4-3. That's not so great, obviously. But what if your Venom like ate something really big and then you can destroy him again and then add that power onto Toxin? It doesn't seem that beneficial because you already have the Venom out, who has a lot of power, but sometimes it can really help out because it's that extra destroy trigger, which helps set up death or maybe even null right? Imagine Venom eats up, I don't know, like a Typhoid Mary, and then you on turn 5 you also play Toxin, destroy the Venom, and then you can turn 6 Null, some kind of crazy stat line. I don't know if the energy curve works there, but you can just imagine this can get to crazy totals, and then Carnage himself can probably easily get to 6 power, and that's another 6 on top of Toxin. So you can get to this to some crazy power totals. And what I liked about this card is that you're using other cards and having synergy with them, which is something that we don't see too often. I don't even know if it's technically in the game yet, but there has been a data mine card that interacts with the Human Torch. I can't remember his name, but anyways, if you like move the torch to that location, he gets plus 10 power. So anyways, I think it's in their radar to actually print cards that interact with other cards directly. So this is a really cool combo idea, I think. So well done, Norman. Love these two cards. All right, and then we got Cirques 101, Clairvoyant. On reveal, curse a random card on both sides of this location. Destroy them at the end of the game. I didn't end up putting this in the top 5, mostly because I think that maybe is too strong. It is a random card, but you almost guarantee destroy a card on your opponent's side. If there's only one card there, they're heavily investing it. It's like a big power output or just something that they've committed a lot of resources to, and you destroy that. That's probably a little bit powerful. Also, probably really good with Null. Null is an ongoing ability, right? So if you get to destroy these cards at the end of the game, boom, Null gets a bunch of power at the end of the game. Your opponent can't really do much about that unless they're somehow able to Enchantress the Null beforehand. So it seems a little strong. Not to mention, you could also focus, destroy a card on your side, like Bucky Barnes, or who knows what. It doesn't even really matter. You just go for something that you want to destroy. It could be something as small as Nova. But it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. You know it's going to happen, but it's going to happen later at the game, and you have to plan around it. So it's a really cool idea. I love it. A 5 cost is probably fairly balanced, maybe still a little too broken, but you can't really make it a 6, then it doesn't really work. And any earlier would be broken. So 5 felt pretty good. And then we got Dark Lagos, Michael Korvac, 2 cost, 0 power. When this is destroyed, add a Korvac Unbound to your hand at the start of turn 6. So Korvac Unbound is a 6 cost, 16 power. Big boy. This can only be played at the location that Michael Korvac was destroyed. Very cool. So you have a mini quest here. You have to destroy Michael Korvac, right? So you have to find a way, either Carnage, Venom, what have you. Okay, and then your payoff is that you get Korvac Unbound. Now, the only thing here is that you still have to play it. So your turn 6 is committed to 16 power, and it's location locked. So if your opponent Professor X'd you, say at the location that you destroyed Michael Korvac, then you're never going to be able to get the payoff in the Korvac the Unbound. Now, it's not the worst case scenario, because if you play Michael Korvac and then you Carnage it, it's still like you get 2 power and you played 2, so it's not that bad. So there's means to actually make this kind of work for you, but I feel like it's a little bit difficult in the sense that you have to play at the same location. I think the best case scenario for this is you use it in a ramp deck where you ramp up to Korvac Unbound, play it on 5, and then 6 you can kind of just find power elsewhere, commit elsewhere if you need to, or even better yet, Taskmaster to copy the 16 power from Korvac Unbound, which would be a huge swing and probably win you the game. And then really your conditions here are destroy Michael Korvac, get a ramp, play the Korvac Unbound. You at least get it into the hand right away, so that's not even much of a condition or difficulty. And then you just play that, and then Taskmaster or just any kind of other power elsewhere. I don't think that's too much. You know, there's other cards that require a lot of setup, like Galactus or something, right? So I think that's a pretty reasonable, very well-balanced card. You do end up paying 8 for 16, which isn't too bad. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I really like the creativity. I love how it transforms into another card when it's destroyed. You know, we see that with Bucky Barnes, but I feel like we could see that with a lot more cards. So great submission from Dark Lagos and Cirques. Thank you very much. All right, and then we got my card, Drewberry's card, and this is Codex. So Codex, from my understanding, is Dylan Brock, who is the son of Venom, or Eddie Brock, and he kind of goes toe to toe with Null and like takes over his powers or something, and that's why he looks like this. He's Codex, but he kind of controls the symbiotes. Or at least at one point he did when he was Dylan Brock. But anyhow, I had this idea. I know a few other people submitted Codex. I apologize. I think Fizz was one. Shout out to Fizz. But I had this idea like last week. I had it ready and I was excited to use it. So I apologize that I used your character. But ongoing, cards played at adjacent locations merge with a symbiote. Okay, so he's a 2 cost 0 power. Might be a little bit too cheap because what does a symbiote do in this scenario? Now, I know I'm using the art from Clintar. This Clintar is what inspired this whole card for me. It might have to be a different art because it has a different stat line than the symbiotes from Clintar. So bear with me. Merge and destroy. It's like search and destroy Call of Duty. Merge and destroy. So essentially, I play a card to, let's say I put Codex in the middle, okay? Codex in the middle, and then I play a card on the right or the left. In both scenarios, they're going to have a symbiote merge with them and destroy them. So there's a lot to break down here. One, if I manage to protect them with armor, then they don't get destroyed and they get the 2 power from symbiote. So it's just like plus 2 power to each card I play to those adjacent locations that are protected. That could be really good, just getting power output from Codex. But also, maybe we use it as a destroy trigger. So I throw out my Bucky Barnes and he gets destroyed. He gets the plus 2 power. I throw out my Deadpool, who gets plus 2 power and then gets destroyed. And then I can do that every consecutive turn after. I think that's probably the most broken application. Probably too nuts. Honestly, because of Deadpool, the way Deadpool exists, this is probably too crazy because it's just constantly like doubling. You get to some insane numbers. So I admit that, okay? I admit that. That's a little nuts. Maybe it has to cost more, but it's fun. And then Sabretooth is pretty nuts too because you can throw him out. He gets 6 power. He gets destroyed on turn 4 rather. He's 0 cost, and then you can get him to 8, and then just every turn leading up to the final turn, he's probably going to be like a 12 power Sabretooth, and Sabretooth actually becomes viable. Huzzah! That's pretty cool. So anyways, I thought that was cool. You could either go with the protection route with armor and whatever, and then you just play a bunch of cards, get the power bonus from symbiote, and you're not taking up a location with an extra card, or you play on the destroy aspect and destroy all those cards at adjacent locations. Also, it's only a good case scenario if you can play it down the middle, right? You might not have that flexibility. You have to play it on the left or the right, or maybe the location to the left or the right where you played it is one that's limited, or maybe your opponent plays cards there, like puts a goblin over or debris. So there's a few counters. It's also an ongoing ability, so it can get disabled with like even Rogue or Enchantress. So I felt like there was a few counters. The Deadpool interaction, though, probably puts this card over the top, but I don't care. It's fun, and I had fun making it. All right, now it's time for the top 5. Number 5, Arugulas, the Mangog. Oh my gosh, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I don't care. Dude, this is hilarious. This is so funny. I love when you guys think outside the box. Now, I've shouted out Arugula's submissions a couple times now, but how can I not when you got the creativity like this? My goodness, so good. On reveal, destroy the retreat button. Yeah, you didn't think you could interact with that? Well, guess what? Mangog says, smash the retreat button. You're going nowhere. You're stuck with me until the end of this game. Probably the most toxic possible card ever added to Snap. Let's just be clear here, okay? I understand and respect that. Your opponent literally would not be able to leave the game for the next minute or so unless they like left the app and closed it and then came back and found out they lost a bunch of cubes. Otherwise, they are stuck. But let's also consider that this is actually a 5 cost 4 power, basically do nothing, right? Because if your opponent never planned on retreating, you clearly didn't plan on retreating, then this essentially does nothing. So I feel like we have to respect that fact, despite it having this really toxic feeling of you're stuck and I'm going to lock you on your phone for the next minute or so. Not even a minute. It's another turn. Maybe you get Mangog on turn 1 or something and boom, and nobody can retreat for 6 turns because of like some location that pulled them out or jubileed them out or whatever. So like for the synergistic cards, I just put the Mimi little Berry Knight there, but because there's no synergy with this. I don't think there's synergy unless you really try to lock your opponent in early, but even then you might not win, so you just lose extra cube. And if you're thinking like, no, cards shouldn't interact with things outside of the core Marvel Snap game, there is another data mine card called Mephisto who's going to double your winnings if you win a game, or it's like your cube total. So maybe you even double your losses. I'm not 100% sure on the text. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but it interacts with an object outside of the core mechanic of the game. So this is a possibility. Would they ever print this? No shot. But it's hilarious to think about. It's super creative to think outside the box here with incorporating the retreat button. So well done, Arugula. That's why you got number 5. Number 4, Toby's It's Jeff. Oh my goodness, look at this shark. He's so cute. Oh my gosh, I was in love when I saw this card. It's so good. I love it so much. It's Hefe or Jeff, however you want to call him. So cute. You know, the variants were like just the cherry on top. So good. I had to look it up though. I was a little curious because I try to keep it Marvel characters, right? If there's a character maybe I don't recognize, I got to Google it. I got to confirm, do my homework, and make sure it's a Marvel character. And it turns out this is a Marvel character. Who would have thought? I didn't read too much into it, but it has to do with Gwenpool. So hangs out with Gwenpool. I don't know. Hilarious. Love it. It's Jeff. So what is Jeff doing here? So Jeff is a 1 cost, 1 power. On reveal, your opponent takes control of this card. So it's like a Green Goblin, right over there somewhere. And then ongoing, cannot be destroyed or have its power change. We've seen this kind of like Colossus. So it's like a Green Goblin mixed with Colossus. It can be moved though, but barely. That's not going to happen that much on your opponent's side of the board unless they Heimdall or something and they're playing a move deck. So really, what this guy is disruption. And he's adorable. You just hope and wait to see when your opponent's going to maybe put 3 cards out of location. You put Jeff in there, and they're probably screwed because he's only 1 power. He's not doing much for them, right? Usually Green Goblets, the benefit is that it's negative power. This is actually just straight up giving your opponent 1 power. You know, like that's all this is really doing, but it takes up a location spot. And I think it's actually the most fair stat line if there were a 1-drop goblin. I don't think you could just make a 1-drop goblin and have it be -1. Like that seems way too easy to throw out a card, because imagine this scenario, right? Daredevil I have here as a synergistic card. On turn 5, I see that you play 3 cards, you set up your big Wong turn or whatever you're trying to do, even Iron Man, anything like that, and your last slot is probably Onslaught, right? Or if it's a Wong thing, you're going to like play, I don't know, like Odin on top of whatever combo you've already set up. Just examples, right? Well, you left that 1 spot open and now I can throw Jeff there and you're done for. You're done. You're out of the game and Jeff, this little shark, wins. On top of that, because he only costs 1, I can do other things on my turn 5. I have 4 extra energy to spend and allocate that elsewhere. So it's just kind of nuts in that sense. So I think that giving power to your opponent is actually the way to go if there were a 1-cost goblin. But it might even just be out of hand because it'd be so annoying. But it's so cute. So even if it's annoying and it joins your side of the board, you're probably like, "Aw, it's Jeff." It's okay. He's eating a pizza. Oh my gosh. Just killed it, Toby. You just hit my heartstrings with this one. So good. Thank you for the submission. Love it. Just love it. Number 3, AndyC's Dormammu. So I've seen this card submitted a lot. This one stood out to me because honestly, what I was waiting for was somebody to submit a card that would destroy a location. I wanted to have at least 1 card that did that interaction in this video, and it was none other than AndyC, who's also been crushing. I've been highlighting his cards recently, but some people just got a knack for this. Man, so good. So Dormammu is at the end of the game, and this is a 6-cost, 4 power, destroy this location. But the condition is if you only have 3 other cards here. So you have to invest power. You have to invest your resources to fill this location so that you can destroy it. And you're only destroying the 1. And you're probably spending your turn 6 on this. Maybe you cheated on turn 5, who knows? But that's a lot of investment to destroy a location that might not really benefit you that much. So I was trying to think of some combinations here, and I was thinking Brood would be a nice easy one just to fill the location, right? You put a Brood there on turn 3, then maybe you can ramp into Dormammu, and then you play it on 5, you destroy the location, and it's pretty good. And even better yet, if you destroy that location, you get the 3 Broodlings, right? That'd be 2, 4, 6. 4 from Dormammu, that's 10 power, and then anything that your opponent committed to, if they even committed to 10 power, boom, we just got 20 to our null. If we can play null at a later time, right? Because they're both 6 costs. We got to find one way to ramp into the other. So that's a possibility. But overall, I feel like this one might be difficult to pull off, or it could be game breaking because you could just play a flood deck and make sure that you have the option of destroying any location that you want. Maybe even Professor X, another location, somehow lock it down, win other locations, have the flexibility of playing Dormammu at 1 of 2 locations. Boom, you play him there and you destroy everything that your opponent set up for. Or maybe you have priority, right? And on turn 6, they played the cards there and you destroy them all? That'd be insane. It'd be a pretty decent counter to leader. If you have priority and you destroy leader, boom, you don't get leader and I win the game. Yeah, that's pretty nice too, right? And then I put in the bottom there Galactus. You're probably thinking, what? That doesn't work. But what if? What would happen if you cheat out Galactus the way you're supposed to, basically, when you play Galactus on turn 5, and I have Dormammu in the hand, and I somehow can also get 3 cards at that location that Galactus is at. So basically, he's there, and I play a Wasp, and I play something else in Dormammu on turn 6, if possible. I don't even know if it'd be possible. Maybe it's Yellow Jacket, Wasp, and Dormammu. The epic combination, and then bam, it's a tie. Would it be a tie? I don't know if it would be a tie, but it'd be kind of funny. Like, that feels like a challenge worth a berry trying. But anyways, it seems pretty fun. I like this card. I think there's maybe more than meets the eye to it. There's a few combinations that could be really crazy, but also not too overpowered, I don't think. But destroying a location is really fascinating to me. We only see it with Galactus, and maybe it's healthy for the game that we only see it with Galactus, but I feel like this one would be balanced enough. I don't know. It was pretty cool. Thank you, AndyC. Oh my gosh, and before I move on, we got the Inkified version. He put the Inkified version. So good. It looks really cool with this one. I don't know if I did any justice with my editing and stuff, but it looks great. Well done. Number 2, Mark Confidant's Gwenom. Yo, look at this card. I love this card. It's so good. What a cool character, too. So it's Gwen Stacy, but Venomized, or symbiote version, or whatever you want to call it. So she's a 4-cost 1 power. When a card moves here, destroy it and gain its power. Love this. Now, the very first thing that I want to get out of the way, because people are probably curious about it or already thought of it, is, isn't this pretty much a better version of Kingpin? So Kingpin is a 3-cost 4 power, and he has the ability that on turn 6, any card that is moved there gets destroyed. Gwenom, on the other hand, has the flexibility of any time a card is moved there, she destroys it, and she'll eat them up and get their power, which is probably significantly better than Kingpin, right? You get both of those benefits. It opens up a lot more combinations. I can then Arrow and Magneto and still get the benefit for Gwenom. I think maybe to make it fair, Gwenom should only destroy your cards, right? So anytime you move a card over there, destroy it and gain its power. And then you kind of set up this destroy and move archetype, which I think would be really fascinating. So I would really like that idea. But I have to say, Mark also mentioned in the notes a few combinations here. And one that was really interesting to me was Cloak. So you play Cloak on turn 2. Or no, not turn 2, on turn 3, let's say, okay? You play Cloak on turn 3. And then you play Gwenom. And if you have priority, right, Gwenom's going to reveal, and your opponent moved all those cards over, and she eats them all up. Now, movement does happen first before reveals, but I think she would still trigger. I don't know. You can't hold me to it. I'm not too sure if that would be the case. Or you just set up the Cloak when you already have Gwenom out there, because it's not ongoing. It's not on reveal. It's just anytime something moves there, and she'll eat it up if he decides to move it. So it essentially creates a choke for your opponent. They can't really move things to the Cloak location. And then you have your obvious synergies with Arrow and Magneto pulling over cards. Polaris would have been another one that I could have added here. Just moving cards over to her location, and she eats them up. And then I think you could even feed her a bunch of multiple men. I'm pretty sure Mark mentioned that. You just like buff all these multiple men and then keep moving them over there with like Doctor Strange, Cloak, whatever. And then she just eats them up, but then you still get the original clone that stays there. I think that'd be hilarious. So I just really love the idea here of giving Move a little bit of extra power, even if it's a little broken. It's a little bit of extra power from Move. It also creates a dual archetype with Destroy and Move, which we have not seen before, really, except for the Disruption versions, right? I would love to see something that is more, I aim to destroy. My cards want to get destroyed and move at the same time. That's interesting to me. Not move my opponents and destroy them, even though the way Gwenom is worded right now would probably be how she is used mostly. But I think if we made that one change, it would be really cool. But regardless, I really love the card. The card art and everything was great, Mark Confidant. So Thank you for submitting. This was a great submission. But number 1 goes to Psycho's Grandmaster. Psychologicreate, I think is your full name. I'm just going to go Psycho. Dude, you crushed this one. You crushed it. It's so good. The card art with the cards falling out of his hands and the earth and behind and everything and like this like glow effect. Oh my gosh. Even the yellow border. I don't know how you did that because there's not really a yellow border in Snap. So that was awesome. Just a nice little touch. So artwork, incredible. And boom, it's a 6 cost 0 power. That's always fascinating, right? Mr. Negative, anybody? But wait, on reveal, play all cards in your hand, then destroy them. What? This is insane. This is such a cool card. This is a total build around 6 cost card. You create decks from this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we could have went the destroy route, right? I was thinking, I was trying to theory craft decks with this, and I was thinking, okay, I could heavily invest in the destroy Wolverines, right? Maybe my Bucky Barnes. Maybe I can play Null beforehand. Then everything that gets destroyed from my hand is just juice for Null. Just buff them up like crazy. Okay, maybe we could go the negative route, but that would be kind of awkward because when I play all those negatized cards, I'm just going to destroy them. So I don't know if I love that method of playing Grandmaster. But then I thought, okay, well, you know what this is kind of like? It's kind of like Hela, right? Hela brings back all those cards that you invested in discarding. This kind of is like a destroy version of Hela, but playing all the cards from your hand. And the reason that I think this could work is because you have things like armor. So that's how I came up with this deck here. So basically the idea, it's a bit high rolly, okay, but basically the idea, so you have a little bit of disruption with Iceman, right? You got Colossus who could come out of the hand and not get destroyed, so that's kind of great, right? Electro and Wave to ramp into the Grandmaster, which is what we want to do, okay? And then Moon Girl to duplicate some of these crazy big cards in our hand. Strong Guy, because we're probably not going to have cards in our hand anyway, so who cares? We'll get Strong Guy out there for 10 power, easy dub. And then all the biggies, all the big ones. And basically the idea is we either ramp into Grandmaster and we play all these cards like crazy, okay? And then it's going to be probably a lot destroyed, but if I protect one location with armor, then we're golden, right? Even better yet, I didn't even put it in here, and now that I think about it, it might be really good, is Professor X, because when all these cards come out and Professor X drops down, it might save them from being destroyed because it's play all cards, then destroy them. So Professor X is actually fire with this combination of cards. But anyways, we don't have them right now. Maybe I'd take out one of the big ones for Professor X. Regardless, you either play Grandmaster on 5, and then turn 6, you have the option of drawing maybe one of these cards, and then it's a good draw, and then you can play that. Or we ramp into one of these other cards to guarantee it doesn't get destroyed, get some power out there, and then play Grandmaster on 6. So that was the thing about this deck. It's basically a ramp deck for Grandmaster, but what a cool idea. My goodness, I feel like this needs to be in the game. It's such a cool idea. A nice big 6-drop, a big final deck builder, possibly broken, possibly annoying. Like people get annoyed by the Hela decks, and this kind of plays on that. It's just like randomness of like where those cards fall. Because right, like I'm really banking on that cards fall. The whole point in my deck right here is that cards would fall on my armored location. So the idea is to just have armor, 3 spaces open, maybe fill some other spaces with other cards just to make sure that they don't get played there. And then hopefully all of those drops go to the armor location, don't get destroyed, and then I get all my big power. That's really the idea. That's the one I came up with. That's what I thought would be best for this card. But fantastic submissions, Psycho. The art, 10 out of 10. The idea, 10 out of 10. This was just like one of my favorite cards so far. Anyways, thank you so much to everyone who has submitted custom cards. I apologize for the delay in this video, but we will be doing the Give challenge on Christmas Day, so you can expect that one. That's going to be really exciting. And if you want to just jump in the Berryverse Discord, just jump on in. We got the link in the description. Everybody's helping out with like meta decks, celebrating if you hit infinite or not, or whatever rank you are. We do all that fun stuff. It's been a great time. I appreciate you all that are in there and contributing to this community. So thank you, and I will catch you guys next time.